I figured it was about time that I produce another production after what we have witnessed, what has taken place a couple of weeks ago, the riots on the nation's capital back in January 6th of this year, 2020. Now, I'm not going to speak too long and detailed on it, but what I will do is reference some talking points that I'm going to use to address the usual suspects here on YouTube. And I will segue into what it is that I'm going to address pertaining to them. Now, just to get my personal opinion about this, so to speak, about what has taken place, and I'm not going to really get too much into detail, and I'm not going to really give any specific info. But what I will say is this: a couple of years ago, I've stated that Donald Trump will go down as the worst president in the history of this nation. I said that back in, 2017, 2018, and I'll be damned if I have not been proven right. But if we were to remove my personal opinion out of this, because I know I'm going to have some of y'all that get triggered, that are going to come to my comment thread and you disagree with what I'm saying, but before you thoroughly start to disagree with what I'm saying, maybe you need to fully hear me out. Because we've witnessed what has taken place on the nation's capital. And let's just remove my personal opinion out of this. With everything that has taken place, where there was an attempted takeover of the nation's capital and they failed, we now know that the mainstream media and the Democratic Party, hell, even the Republican Party, are going to depict this man as inciting riots and terror, and they are going to depict him as the worst president in the history of this nation. This is just what's going to go down. I'm just letting y'all know this. Many of y'all know this. This is another reason why they have impeached him a second time. So now when we sit back and we look at what is taking place, and if we factor in my personal opinion when it comes down to Donald Trump, a lot of stuff of what he said as far as the speech was concerned the day of the riots had taken place, this can all be based off of how somebody interprets it. The reason why I'm saying it this way is because he didn't speak in direct terms. Meaning he did not tell people to go to the White House and riot. What he stated is, listen, go march on the Capitol, go protest and yell and give support to the Republicans who are needing of your support or needing some motivation. That can be interpreted as anything, but it doesn't speak directly to him saying, listen, go to the nation's capital and tear the place up. So therefore, if they try to get him on some kind of legal charges, chances are it's not going to stick. Why? Because they don't have nothing that they can directly tie him into. Funny thing is, after he told y'all to march on the Capitol, and I'm going to be there with you, the first chance he got in his limo and tucked himself somewhere in his nice cozy quarters of that White House, leaving many of these white supporters of Donald Trump on their own. Now, the reason why I'm going to say he will go down as the worst president in the history of this country is not based off of whether I like the guy or dislike the guy. It's based off of something simple. If we were to say that he was talking in dog whistle terms to try to incite his base to go out and really take over things and tear shit up on his behalf, he failed. And not only did he failed at getting the election results overturned. Just based off of that alone, when such extreme measures happen and people can somehow even remotely link it back to him, then he will. And let me just say, not only can they remotely link it back to him, but the fact that you did not get the outcome that you were looking for, that is a blatant sign of failure. Therefore, which will highlight and once again substantiate that he will go down as the nation's worst president ever, until somebody worse comes along. But this is just what it's going to be. Now, had he been able to successfully overturn the election results, then my talking points can be argued. You can say, well, you know what, I disagree with that. And you know what, that would be perfectly fine. But just considering what had happened and the fact that he failed, what I'm going to say is this much. And this is why I'm not going to really speak too tough on what took place in that nation's capital. I'm not here to give my opinion on that, at least not yet. Whether I decide to do so or not, I don't know. But what I will say is this. If you were going to do something to that extreme, you better not miss the mark. Because the reason why, if you do something to that extreme and you fuck up, and you do not get the intended target, reach the intended goal, meet the intended objective, you know the consequences are going to be so goddamn severe that it's not even going to be funny. You know this. This is why they've impeached Donald Trump for his second term. What they're really looking to do now, whether it's going to be successful or not, I don't know. But what they're really looking to do is trying to ensure that he cannot run again for a second time. They want him out, and that's it. We don't want his ass having no chance to get back into politics ever again. This is what they want. But once again, if you were going to take an extreme measure, and I'll give you one example. Throughout the George Floyd riots, what you had were some black, I don't know whether they were teenagers or young adults, who decided to follow a police officer home. Followed him home, found out where he lives, documented a bunch of information to decide they were going to launch an attack. Not on his home, not on him, not on his personal equipment, maybe a vehicle or something else of that nature, or anything that's near and dear to his heart. What they decided to do is they were going to launch an attack on his company police cruiser. I want y'all to think about that for a second. Now, if you can manage to successfully pull this off and get away with it, some people might respect that. But if you get caught, you will be classified as a failure. You will become the laughingstock of civilization. That's just the way that's going to be. Because number one, the intended target, it's not even anything personal that belongs to this officer. It's a company vehicle. But once again, if you manage to pull it off and get away with it, then people might be able to have some level of respect for you. But these individuals made this attempt and failed. Didn't even get the police cruiser. They attempted to light it up with Molotov cocktails and failed. Got caught, got arrested, and the last time I checked, they were facing somewhere close to around 90 years in prison. So your whole life is now thrown away for an extreme action that you attempted and failed miserably. Yeah, you now become the laughingstock of civilization, and people can successfully classify you as a blatant failure. That is just the way that cookie crumbles. Meaning, once again, if you were going to take an action to this extreme, you better not miss your mark. You're only going to get one shot at this, and you better not fuck this up. And clearly in this occasion, they dropped the ball. Likewise with Donald Trump, he dropped the ball. The only difference is he can arguably say, hey, that wasn't my intention. I didn't tell him to storm the nation's capital and do what they did. And that can be his line of defense. So he has two different sides that he can play. Had he successfully had the nation's capital taken over and held hostage the people who were making the decisions and were able to overturn the result, he might be able to use different talking points. But since he hadn't, what he successfully did was giving himself a way out. But it does not negate the fact that he will go down as the nation's worst president in the history of this nation. That's just a fact. You don't have to like what I'm saying. You don't have to agree with it. But this is how the media is going to stigmatize him. Now, I do understand why there are a lot of people who like this man. A lot of y'all who love this man. He represents strength. He represents somebody who's going to go in there and say whatever the hell he wants. He's against political correctness. So he's an oddball who essentially goes up the mainstream establishment. And somewhere along the lines, and like I told y'all in a video I did late last year, that I believe the election was rigged. I believe that. I believe it. But when I classify him as the worst president of the nation, it's not based off of whether I think it was stolen from him or whether I think he should have lost. The fact of the matter is, when extreme measures take place to this extent, under your name. And these are your loyal constituents. You had CEOs that were in there. You had ex-military members that were in there. You had police enforcement that were in there, that were all in on this. This was an inside job. And the fact that this took place and you failed to overturn the election results, that right there just lumps you up. If you're going to take this extreme, you got to know if you win, okay, then you might be able to say, okay, I'm the best president ever. That can arguably be said. But if you fail, you know you are going to be looked at as the worst president of the nation. That's just how that's going to go down. Now, what I do want to reference here is there was a young lady who was shot dead throughout the course of this riot. And this is where I'm going to segue into the usual suspects. Because for years now, I've sat back and I've listened to the talking points of a Chrissy, even though I don't listen to her that often. I've listened to the talking points of a Cynthia G. I've listened to the points of a Crystalline Karazin. And essentially what these females state is that black men do not protect black women. We've seen this throughout the entire George Floyd riots. We've seen this. And you've heard the talking points. Hashtag burn the cape. Hashtag stay home. Hashtag stop mammying, stop caping for black men, black women. Hashtag divest. We've seen and heard of it all before. And what you have essentially had were these women who were getting online and attempting to get angry with black men because black women were going out here and marching and protesting and in certain cases rioting at the behest of black men. I mean, we've seen this, the talking points. You had Chrissy with her messy ass get online and look for any vague, frivolous reason that she can use to lump up and try to throw black men under the bus as a damn collective. And what she did was she posted up paintings that were shown of little black girls holding shotguns to the killers of Ahmaud Arbery. She also took an image of a black woman that was standing in front of her home with her gun collection on the floor, or on the sidewalk, should I say, standing in front of her home holding a semi-automatic rifle while her son was looking out the window, I guess showcasing that she's protecting her home and her children. Chrissy immediately says that, I think it's a black man that put her up to this, that it was a black man that took the picture, her black husband. Now, from what we know, she might not even be married to a black man. So I decided to go ahead and look this woman up. Because essentially what they're trying to say is these black guys are trying to depict us of going out here being the defenders of the community. That somebody is literally making this woman do this. Now, in many cases, you hear these black women get online and they talk about how we are subjugated, how we are conquered, how we are dominated, how we are the most powerless group of men on the planet. But yet and still, and in addition to that, what they will mention is that how much better they are doing than we are. So how is it that the most powerless group of men on the planet, who have no power when it comes down to anything, when our own women, when we can't even counter our own women when it comes down to finances and education, but somehow we can get them out there on the forefront to go and march for us, to go and protect us, to be warrior princesses, to protecting us as black men? I want y'all to think about how irrational this really sounds. And this image of this black woman who was standing in front of her home with a semi-automatic rifle, who Christy would immediately say, it was her black husband who made her do this. For all we know, we don't even know if she's married to a black guy. And from what some of y'all were saying, that this woman is really married to a white man. Now, I don't know this. I have not been able to confirm this or substantiate this. So therefore, I'm going to remain on the fence on this and say, I don't know. Would it surprise me if she is? No. But I'm not going to go ahead and speak under certain terms on something as far as I cannot verify or substantiate. But I decided to go ahead and look this woman up on social media, and I decided to follow her on social media. Come to find out that this woman is a former military vet And what she does for a living is she's a firearms instructor, teaching women essentially how to be able to use firearms. See, had Chrissy done her research, she would have known this. Therefore, she wouldn't have tried to run with this vague example, trying to prove her frivolous, baseless talking points. But this is what she did. Because what we are dealing with are a group of women who wish to push propaganda, and the only way they can do this is by making black men the scapegoat. My problem and my biggest problem with females who think like this is I'm sick and tired of y'all using us as your goddamn scapegoat for whatever the hell goes wrong in your damn lives. Many of you which have never gotten past any issues y'all went through with black men in y'all past or in your damn teenage years, and some of y'all in y'all late 30s and 40s still sitting here complaining about some shit that happened to you 25, 30 fucking years ago with some black dude. Get over it is what the hell I'm going to tell you. But we know in the midst of all this, they love to throw us under the bus at the behest of white men. Because what they say is how the white man is so protecting. The white man will never allow his Becky to be in no situation where she's in danger, even though it's the white man that allows white women to join the police force. Despite the fact that it's white men who allow white women to become firefighters. Despite the fact that it's white men who allow white women to join the military, to be in serving tours in Afghanistan, going to Iraq and all these other places where violence can break out at a blink of an eye. So now when we look at Ashli Babbitt, one of the white women that were killed, shot, the only person that I believe was shot and killed in that entire takeover or failed attempt to takeover. This is a former military veteran who served 4 tours in Afghanistan, if I'm not mistaken. I want y'all to think about this. This woman resided in California and came all the way to the other side of the country to engage in this riot. Even put up posts on her social media about the storm is coming, the wave is coming, something to that nature. Now, we all seen what had taken place when it came down to this woman. We know her ending story. We know she is no longer here. And I seen the actual video of what happened before she actually got shot. And what happened where you had them white boys that were in there saying there's a gun, there's a firearm. And they immediately stopped trying to climb over that damn wall. And what I looked and seen was a white female climbing over a wall or trying to climb through a bust open windshield and climbing through it and got her ass shot. Now, some people, if you ask me, what is your personal opinion on this? Because some of y'all are saying justice for Ashli Babbitt. What I say is no, let that man go. Let him go. Let him go. Oh man, how could you say this? I'm disappointed in you. Okay, I'm going to explain that to you right now. First of all, this is a former military veteran. I want you to think about that for a second. Here you are in a situation where you came all the way from across the other side of the country. Now, if you take a plane, which I've taken a plane from New York City to Las Vegas, it took over 5 hours. And that's one flight, one-way trip. Not split up or layovers, none of the above. One trip took over 5 hours to get from New York City to Las Vegas. California, you're probably talking about another hour, hour and a half by plane. So let's say roughly about 6.5 hours, somewhere around there, give or take. Now, if we're talking about everything that's taking place in 2021 with COVID, many people are not flying planes. So if she didn't take a plane, then she would have had to have driven or taken a train over or taken a bus. That takes even longer. You're talking about a couple of days if you decide to go forth with the route of taking a train or a bus. Driving, maybe you can do it within 2 days. I don't know. But when you think about what is taking place, it took this long for her to get all the way over here to the nation's capital. You're a seasoned veteran, so which means you have training on how to operate. You've been to Afghanistan on several different occasions or 4 different occasions. You know good and damn well you cannot just show up to somebody else's territory, somebody else's land, unfamiliar territory, being reckless and expect not to happen to you. You know something bad's gonna happen to you if you go anyplace else and do that bullshit. So why did this woman think it was okay after the white men who had attempted to go through that damn room or that shattered window had pulled back and stated there's a gun? Why was it now that she thought that it was going to be any different for her? And the minute she thought she was going to go through that window, what happened? Bow. That's it. Over. One shot. Put her down. That's it. It's a wrap. So what is my personal opinion about this? You play stupid games, you win fucked up prizes. I'm not going to say stupid prizes because a stupid prize, maybe you make an ass out of yourself. That's a little different. No, this wasn't a stupid prize. This wasn't nothing laughable. You play stupid games and you win fucked up prizes. In this case, death. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this debunks the whole narrative of what the usual suspects want to get online and say. You have a Cynthia G that will get online and say, well, white men deserve submission because they've earned it. And now when she's talking about this, she's talking about from black women. Let's just keep it for what it is. Let's just give it a buck. She's talking about submission from black women because they've earned it. I want y'all to think about this. They also go as far as to mention how white men would not put their women in these circumstances. Why was Ashli Babbitt storming the White House Capitol? Why, if that was the case? Now, let's just think about this for a second. Because when you look at that tweet that she showcased, the thumbnail on her Twitter page is an image of her kissing her husband, which is who? Not some Negro. Oh no. You see, maybe that would make more sense why she was there in the first place had she been married to a Negro. Because after all, now the Negro don't protect, he don't provide, he puts his women on the forefront. This is just what he does. So we know this could not possibly be a Negro. So she's married to a white man. So now let's thoroughly think about this for a second, because I thought, according to what y'all stated, the white man does not put his woman in no situation like that. Now, the first question that I would have to ask when you listen to the family talk about this after she died, the husband said he decided to let her go on her own. He stayed home. He wasn't about to leave California. He stayed home. So you mean to tell me you let your white wife, the most protected group of women, you let one of those members go into a volatile, hostile situation by herself? Wait a second. I thought that y'all don't let this go on. Because according to black women now, y'all would never put your women under circumstances like this now, would you? Because y'all just don't do this. Because the white man is such a great protector that there's no way he can allow some shit like this to ever happen to his wife now. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe she also has children. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't want to speak under any certain terms. But if that were the case, then why the fuck would you think that it is more important for you to leave your family so you can go to the nation's capital just to end up getting your ass killed for nothing? What did you accomplish behind this? Not a goddamn thing. The next thing is they're saying that the man who shot her was a black man. Now, I screenshotted the image of the man holding the pistol. I cropped it out as best as I could. I might have even done some stuff to enhance the image to try to get y'all a better, clearer picture. And you'll see it circulating within this production. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that doesn't look like a black man to me. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Don't know. What do y'all think? But there are some rumors circulating around saying that it was a black man that shot this woman. So I want y'all to think about this for a second, because on the other side of that room, you had nothing but a bunch of white men who were trying to storm that window and get inside of that other side. And when they seen one man with a loaded firearm, that was enough for them to back off. They didn't continue to pursue after that. But here you have Miss G.I. Jane. Now, I want to bring this all into perspective for a second, because once again now, you got these black women who are saying that the white man does such a great job protecting. There's no way he would allow his woman to not only, number one, to go out in a situation like that all by herself. Then number two, being in amongst a sea of white men. You mean to tell me that the sea of white men, after knowing, it's not that they didn't know, they called it, there's a gun on the other side. So even after knowing that there was a man standing there with a firearm pointing at it, look at the fucking image. The guy's got the gun in his hands pointing the fucking gun. You clearly can see this shit as clear as day. And yet at the same time as all of this was going on, you have this white woman who decides to climb inside of that window, and not one of these white men attempt to stop her? Not one? I mean, how do you explain this, Cynthia G? How do you explain this, Crystalline Carrison? Chrissy? What argument do y'all got to justify this shit now? Because we know good and damn well, had the circumstances been a little different, had the demographic of people in there been of a different pigmentation, and it had been a black woman who got shot and had amongst a sea of black men that stood by and watched that happen, we know good and goddamn well y'all would have went to no end to throw black men under the goddamn bus. This is what y'all do. So in a set of circumstances where white men have the ability to stop something like this, and they could have stopped this before she even got shot, just pull her down. Don't jump over there. We're going to fall back for a minute. Leave it alone. There's somebody over there with a loaded firearm. We're not taking that chance. You see, white men don't get any criticism behind this. Y'all got nothing to say. Y'all are shh. Quiet as all kept. Which further, your silence is deafening. But once again, they got nothing to say behind this. Not only did you have a slew of white men that were in there, but you had white police officers that were in there with helmets, riot gears, and I believe semi-automatic assault rifles that were in there. Immediately they tried to save her after she got shot. This was one man with a loaded firearm. I mean, listen, if y'all were so protective over Becky, they all could have stormed and kicked that damn door down or kicked down that window and went in there and put that dude out of his misery, especially if it was a black man who shot her. So you mean to tell me, let's just go ahead and really sum this up for a second. Because if this really were a black man, you mean to tell me that the most protective group of men in the country would allow their prized possession, be it their white queen, their Becky, the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme, would allow Becky to find herself in a situation where she is being shot and killed by the most powerless group of men on the planet, the most subjugated group of men on the planet, and they don't check that shit? You mean to tell me just one gun with one bullet was enough to hold back all them damn white men? They got shook. They decided, oh no, we ain't gonna fuck that. We don't want no parts of that. Oh shit, she got shot. Oh damn, sucks to be you. Let's see if we can get the paramedics in here. But we ain't finna to climb that goddamn wall. Hell with that. What do y'all got to say behind that? Shh. Silence is all kept. Your silence is deafening. Because what you have witnessed was a woman. And I'm just gonna go ahead and lump some things up here. Because she was the only one to get shot. Typically, it is men that get shot before women. The fact that she got shot dead speaks volumes. It speaks volumes, and what it showcases is the upbringing of your modern day female. How they have been led astray by this entire feminist movement, by movements like movies like G.I. Jane, and they take all of this bullshit and they run with it. I'm sure when she was in the military, she probably had a bunch of simp-ass men who are running around telling her she's a badass and you can kick men's asses and nobody can stop you. I don't want no parts of you, man. You a dominant woman. I'm scared of you. Whether it be black men, whether it be white men, whether it be whoever. I'm sure she had a bunch of them around her, telling her and souping her head up with a bunch of dumb shit. And what happened was the bullshit got to her fucking head. Despite the fact that she's a former military veteran, If you've been in these situations before, you don't go just charging on goddamn room like that in a space that you don't know. You got to assess the situation. Just like I say, when it comes down to black people, analyze. She done none of the above. And I don't know what the fuck was going on in the back of her mind. Maybe she thought her white privilege was going to save her being a white female, unprotected, can't nothing happen to me, and she found out the hard way. All those other white men knew that there was a guy on the other side of that wall with a damn gun in his hand, ready to shoot somebody. Anybody jump over, I'ma shoot you, I'ma put you down. After they called this out, Miss G.I. Jane figures, and this is probably what was going on in the back of her mind, you know what, I'm gonna show these men that y'all cowards and that a woman can come through and show y'all how you get this done. Step out of my way. I'm gonna show you girl power, women rock. Tie your handkerchief around your head and wear your red shirt and roll up your sleeve and flex your bicep, because women can do it too, right? Right? She found out the hard way. No. Because as much as a badass as she thought she was going to be, that day, reality showed her otherwise. Life, as I keep on telling you, will become your greatest teacher. And just as much as a badass as she thought she was going to be, that she was going to be in there and be Miss Superwoman, Miss Wonder Woman, going in and kicking ass, taking names and kicking ass, all it took was one bullet, just one, to put her out of her misery. Lights out. Many of you might not like what I'm saying. Many of you might disagree with what I'm saying. I'm not justifying her death, but with that being stated, I'm not going to say go lock up that officer for doing his fucking job. Let him go. Let him go. The hell were you doing? You shouldn't have done that. And since you felt the need not to follow the lead of men, not one man ended up getting shot that day, but a white woman gets shot and killed. What is that speaking? That showcases that you had a woman who was being hasty, who was not thinking, who wanted to showcase she was a badass. I'm going to come down here by myself because I'm a former military vet and I know what I'm doing. But I'm going to go run up in some random location, storming rooms by myself. Even though it's been known that there's a man standing there with a firearm pointing right at my goddamn skull. And like I said, once again, she found out the hard way. Just one bullet will put you down. Doesn't matter how much of a badass you are. Doesn't matter how many men you might have beaten up in your life. Doesn't matter how many pussified simps run around telling you that you're the shit. That meant absolutely nothing. Because when she tried to climb over that goddamn wall, that man let her know, I'm not having that shit. I will light your ass up in a second, and that is exactly what he did. Just one bullet. One. That was it. Not from no slug or no shotgun. Not from no sawed-off shotgun. Not from some semi-automatic rifle or some sort. No. A Glock 9mm was all it took. Bah! One shot. Put it down. Once again, you play stupid games, you win fucked up prizes. That's just what that is. Justice for Ashli Babbitt? No, forget that. Fuck that. She made her goddamn choice. And all of those white men that were standing in there and watched that happen, none of them tried to storm that damn room. Not one of them tried to go after the individual who shot her. That lets you know, that speaks volumes. And what we have seen by those actions right there and throughout the actions of black men is that men in general, and this is the problem when it comes down to you black women who want to talk this bullshit, that white men are such these saviors, which y'all are trying to make them seem as if these men are willing to take a bullet for some random white female who decided to be crazy as a motherfucker. And that video clip right there proved otherwise. They ain't doing that shit. And then y'all try to chastise black men when we won't randomly take a random bullet for some random black female. No man in his right mind is doing that bullshit. We're not. And I guarantee you, if you would probably sit down and ask her husband, man, hey man, listen, why didn't you try to stop your wife? He's probably going to tell you something along the lines, listen, I tried to, but she just wasn't hearing it. She wasn't. There was nothing I can do to stop her. So, it's unfortunate that this happened, but listen, I tried to stop her and I couldn't. All right. Let's ask the white guys that were there that witnessed this tragedy take place. Why didn't a single one of y'all attempt to stop her? Why didn't none of y'all try to pull her down? Hey, climb down. Don't do this. And they're probably going to tell you, listen, we told her there was a gun on the other side. She decided to climb through that fucking window after we made it blatantly clear there's a man on the other side of that window with a gun in his hands, pointing at you. Don't move. Don't climb over the goddamn thing. Listen, we told her if she decided to do what she wanted to do, guess what? She's on her own. Nothing we can do. She got shot. We tried to resuscitate her. There was nothing we could do. She bled out. It was over. It was a wrap. That's what that was. The fact of the matter is this, what I'm saying to you, black woman, is when you are expecting random men to protect you after you put yourself in volatile situations, it doesn't matter whether they're your same skin complexion. At some point, you have to understand that every human being is going to value their lives. And essentially what y'all are expecting us to do is jump in front of a speeding train and push you off that track and get decapitated by that train for you. We're not doing that. No man in his right mind is fucking doing that. What y'all are expecting us to do is to jump in front of you and take a stray bullet for a random stranger. We're not doing that. I don't know where y'all made it up in the back of your mind that men are just out here doing this stupid shit. White men don't do this. Asian men don't do this. Hispanic men don't do this. Black men don't do this. And I told y'all a couple of years ago, I seen a video clip on Facebook. Black dude was just beating the hell out of these white girls. It was like 3 or 4 of these white girls, and every time they would get up, he would keep punching them, knocking them back down. Blah, get up, boom, stay down, pow, hold that, boom, don't get up again. Now you had white men that were standing by filming this shit. Not a single one of those men stepped in to intervene. Because the fact of the matter is this, most men are not going to put themselves at risk to go help out random women. They're just not doing that. Most people don't want to receive a beatdown or get shot or get killed to go save a random woman. Men are not becoming a sacrificial lambs. I don't understand I don't understand how the hell y'all got this bullshit in the back of your mind that this is what it takes to be a damn man. That's according to your standards. We're supposed to be disposable at your dispense. Fuck that. It's not happening. Not going down. And the reason why I say this is simple. You have the girl who swirls, okay, who got online and made a live stream pertaining to a situation of a black female who was violently assaulted in California, or somewhere in Los Angeles, by a bunch of angry Trump supporters shortly after this storming of the White House Capitol had taken place. What Crystalline Karazin did was showcase what had happened there. Well, there really is no video that really demonstrates what really took place so we can thoroughly get an understanding. But what you have circulating are a bunch of still images. There's only a brief video that was recorded before the phone was knocked out of this lady's hand. Now, according to what she was stating, she was on her way home and came across a mob of angry Trump supporters and stated that they were asking her, did you vote for Trump? Take off your mask. Black lives don't matter. All lives do. This is the stuff that they were saying, calling her the N-word. This is literally what she was saying. Okay. Then later on, it led to an assault. But before the assault even happened, what had taken place was this woman found herself in a situation to where as she was leaving, she flicked these people off by, when you say flicking off, I'm assuming you gave them the middle finger. Because that's what I know what that means. And then it leads to the assault, to the snatching her wig off. You have the burly white guy who seemingly is bear hugging her, which according to what she stated, this guy actually saved her. That is questionable as far as I'm concerned. Because now you have other rumors circulating around that she's recanting on her statement. According to what was stated, that white guy lost his job once his job found that video footage. And I mean, it's questionable when you think about this. It's questionable because if you're trying to save a woman who is being assaulted, right? What would be the best way to protect her? I mean, the first thing you want to protect is your face. That's just common sense. Protect your face. But you literally have her hands restrained. And her face is exposed where you literally can see people spraying her with pepper spray. It's not like you're trying to move her out of the way so she doesn't get hit with this pepper spray and mace. It's not like you're using your hand to cover her face to keep her safe. No, you're not doing none of the above. So how much are you really trying to save her? But now, when it boils down to your girl who swirls, okay, will immediately go forth and see this situation that is taking place and state, well, look at who's standing in the background as all of this is taking place, and zero in on the one black man that she can find. I believe altogether there was 2 black men that were at this Trump rally, to stop the steal rally. And what she has done is talk about how this man is a coward, how this is how black men are. And what she did was essentially take the exception, which is the one black man that she pointed out and honed in on, and made him the rule by doing what? Painting all of us with this broad brush. And I'm talking about black men now. Why would she do this? It's pretty simple. Because she is pushing a narrative. She is spewing propaganda. So when I seen her go ahead and do this, I decided, let me go ahead and try to review this clip myself and try to find the actual story. Funny thing is, as this black woman was actually recording all of this before it even gotten violent, what you see in the image, and Crystal Carrison failed to mention is why, because she doesn't want to, because she's all about pushing propaganda. What we've seen is the first one who was actually there antagonizing this situation, instigating this situation, was a black female. I want y'all to take a look at this. Now, I've taken several screenshots. One, which I did to take up close because I want to absolutely confirm that this is a black woman. So we've confirmed now with the close-up that we're seeing a black woman. Then the rest of the screenshots that you are going to see are showcased in the news and the article of the video that I got this from. So that way we can confirm the source and what this is really about. So you know that I'm not just doctoring up some shit to now push a narrative. This is from that very same situation that had taken place. But of course, Crystal Carrison would not reference this now, would she? And as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't use that one black female that was involved with this whole damn thing to go ahead and use this as a broad painting brush to collectively paint black women with this broad brush. Why? Why would I not do that? Because she was only one, the only black female that we were able to actually identify that was involved with this. So in order for me to do that, that is a very vague, it's not a good talking point. It's not concrete. Now, me identifying that this is a black woman with the multiple screenshots, yes. We can say under any uncertain terms that is a black woman. Why? We can see the complexion, we can see the hair texture, we can see the skin pigmentation. Despite the fact that she has on a hat and a pair of glasses, we know undeniably that was a black woman. Now, what Crystal Carrison also attempted to do, but let me put a pause on that for a second. So when it boils down to these black guys that were standing there watching this assault take place, who were Trump supporters, who were there supporting the rally, what they attempt to do is to take impossible odds and thrust black men in impossible odds that are to our detriment and expect us to overcome those odds, which they know we're not going to overcome those odds. They know had they been there themselves, they wouldn't have gone out their way to save that woman. They know this. As much as y'all want to chastise black men, then the excuse they're going to give each other, it's not our job to save women. Stop. You're full of fucking shit. That's exactly what you're doing. But now, what would you expect these black men to do? The 2 black men that were there, that watched this whole thing happen. Mind you, not assaulting her, not getting involved, not antagonizing, not talking shit. We didn't see that. They were just there. A sprinkle of black men, only 2 that can actually be documented in this image, amongst a slew of white people. I want y'all to think about that for a second. And when you hear these buffoonish females get online and say, how come they're not protecting us? I want y'all to think back to the movie Juice. This came out in the early 90s, 1992, 1991, whenever it was. I want y'all to think back to that movie. And in that movie, what we witnessed was you had Tupac Shakur, Omar Epps, and a bunch of other people. I can't think of their names. But we know what the movie was about. You know, Tupac at some point lost his mind and he wanted to become the guy with the juice and have respect. Known for putting people down. This is what he wanted to be known for. And we know they went to a bar and they had their crew. That was their clique. And they went to a bar. I forgot what was the reason why they went into this bar. But as they were leaving, somebody else they knew was standing at the front door on the inside of that bar. Hey man, what's going on with you, man? How you been, man? I'm good. I'm chilling, man. I'm about to get shit cracking in here. Y'all want a piece of this? Nah, we gotta go. All right, cool. Clack, clack. Pulls out a shotgun out of his jacket. All right, everybody. Empty your wallets, empty your pockets, and take your clothes off. Hurry up, goddammit, because you look good. Let me pause this for a second because you got these people with their damn loud ass cars. All right, now I can get back to this recording. But long story short, he asked them, do y'all want to get involved with this? Y'all want a piece of this? Y'all can get a piece of this action. And they said, nah, let's just get on up out of here. Yo, man, be safe. And as that took place and they got back to their boy's house, they looked up on the news and found out that this man ended up being killed. When the police officers showed up to try to deal with this hostage takeover, they ended up having to put him down. Now, if you've seen the movie, you know that Tupac Shakur was pissed off behind it. Oh man, this is ridiculous. This is fucked up. We cowards, we're pussies. All we do is fucking run. We run from the police, we run from this one, we run from that one. This is what he stated. And Omar Epps, his character said, well, what did you expect us to do? He's dead. Well, that's only because we weren't there to back him up. And they got into an argument, and Omar Epps said, listen, if we would have stayed there, it would have been 5 dead niggas instead of 1. What did he mean when he said that? They were up against impossible odds. And he's right. Had they stayed there, it would have been 5 dead niggas instead of 1. I want y'all to think about that for a second. And let's take this back to this whole situation where the black girl was assaulted. And you have the 2 black men that are sprinkled in the crowd. How come they didn't do anything? These are impossible odds. Had they done something, it would have been 3 potentially dead motherfuckers instead of 1 who was being assaulted. Now, what I'm trying to figure out is I don't understand what makes you think that a woman, a black woman, just because she's black, would expect black men that you don't know, who you stand on completely different odds on the spectrum of, have diametrically opposing views politically, but yet and still would expect these black men to go on a limb now and attempt to save this female who had a chance to remove herself out of that equation. And rather than doing that, she decided she gonna flip people off, because of course black women have to have the last word. And I keep on saying this in videos, you know, in many cases y'all gonna have to thoroughly learn how to analyze the circumstances and the surroundings around you. You see, the lights of a crystalline charism will sit up here and say, why is it that these black men didn't do anything when it wasn't their job to do anything for? The 2 of you are on 2 different sides of the spectrum. Have 2 diametrically opposing views politically. And when you talk about Donald Trump and Joe Biden, those are very sensitive topics. We know that this past election was a very emotional election. This is how you had that shit take over, or that failed takeover on the nation's capital a couple of weeks ago. So what would you be expecting these black men to do? Then furthermore, expecting them to put themselves at risk for a woman that they have diametrically opposing political views. Who in their right mind would do this? But this is typically how black women are going to come across the black men. You're supposed to be willing to put yourself in harm's way, jump in front of that bullet for me, and catch that bullet for me. If I jump on a speeding train track and there's a train coming down the track at 90 miles an hour, you're supposed to jump onto that track and push me out the way and get hit by that train for me. And I'm sorry to say this, sister, it's not happening. That's not going down. So then furthermore, Crystal and Karazin decides to now have a live stream with Tanya TKO. And she says something that is outlandishly ridiculous. This is outright fucking offensive. And this just lets you know that you're dealing with a deluded female. You're mentally fucked up. The shit you get online and say, nobody says this shit. And she tries to make a comparison between Black Lives Matter and the Proud Boys. And then literally, I'm gonna go back into that in a second, but what she also states and follows this shit up with is she talks about the slave trade and says only 1 to 3% of people, of white people, own slaves here in America. I want you to think about that dumbass shit. And one of the biggest slave owners, one of the first slave owners, one of the two, she said, was a black man. Once again, I want you to listen to how mentally fucked up this bitch really is. Who in their right mind gets online and says some shit like this? I mean, is this the reason why black people couldn't even walk on the same fucking street with white men? Why we had to hold our heads down on certain cases, walk across the goddamn street? Is this the same reason why a random white person, even if he wasn't your slave master, can beat your ass at will? Could rape your wife and have you and your family killed? Okay, let me pause it right now. Okay, so, boy, y'all see why I don't produce video productions that often. This is one of the reasons why. I'm not gonna get into that right now. Let me go ahead and finish making the point that I was making. I've only heard this woman get online and say such stupid shit like this. This is what she says. That only 1 to 3% of white men actually owned slaves. Is this the same reason why a random white person can have you lynched at the drop of a dime? Can beat you, can rape your wife, and kill your kids right in front of you? While if you're walking on the same street as him, you had to hold your head down in shame around white men. Is that 1 to 3% of the slave owners? I mean, this is the stupid shit that comes out of her fucking mouth. And you don't think long and hard on the dumb shit that comes out your. It's literally offensive. And the thing is, as this stupid bitch is talking, if you look at the look on Tanya TKO's face, you can literally see her eyes going from side to side, left and right, because she has to be processing this fucking insanity right now. Now, I don't give a damn how much you hate black men. My god damn, to get online and say some stupid shit like this. I haven't even heard white men get online talking that stupid shit. But a black female is one who will get online and say some stupid shit like this. So let's just say 1 to 3% of the ones who own slaves, if they owned every single black person in this country, is it a favorable outcome? I want you to think about that. Is that any better than if 90% of white people own slaves? Because if 100% of black people are still slaves, then it's still not a favorable outcome. This is what you're dealing with. You are dealing with a bitch who is completely out of her goddamn mind and gets online and says some of the dumbest fucking shit you have ever heard. This is supposedly a college educated woman and says stupid shit like this. Likewise, when you look at what she has done, and she will take the one scenario where this white guy allegedly was saving this black female, despite the fact that he had her hands fucking tied up by her waist, by bear hugging her, because that's real protection now, isn't it? Despite the fact that he was allowing people to pepper spray her and mace her and still assault her, and he wasn't attempting to fucking cover her goddamn face. Despite the fact that other rumors and video clips are showcasing otherwise, that this white guy really wasn't there to save her. But she would extend this to the collective of white men and say, see, even in a situation like this, white men will still come through to save you black women. This is why you should get with them. And look at the two black guys that were there in a sea of white people who didn't save you. And she would extend that to the collective of black men. This is how she works. So even if you want to extend this, if let's just say if the guy really was saving her, to the collective of white men and say, see, this is how they are, is that a favorable outcome? That woman just got finished getting her ass beat. Are you willing to go through that to have one white guy out of a slew of white people come through to save you? This is what you classify as utter insanity. And I'm going to take it back to a discussion that had taken place right around when the Black Authority had produced, the Race War documentary. And they were sitting in an auditorium. You had Jared Taylor, and you had a couple of brothers sitting down having a discussion. And they said that, Jared Taylor, you are a dangerous individual because you're very cunning. You come across as so well-mannered, so soft-spoken, that you just really want to see us just have separation, and we have some land over here as black people, and you have land over there as white people. And that's really not what you mean. But there was a point that was made. And one of these brothers made an analogy and said, listen, you attempt to go outside your house one day and you look through the peephole, or you look outside the window and you see 1,000 wolves outside your door. 1,000 wolves outside your door. Think about how frightening that would be. Growling fangs, snarling teeth. Some might be foaming at the mouth, rabies potentially, you don't know. But what you do know is that there are 1,000 wolves outside your door that want to kill you. 100 of those wolves would go out their way to save you, would lay their lives down in a heartbeat to save you. Knowing what the outcome is, and knowing that you do have some allies, despite the fact that there's not many and the odds far outweigh the benefits, do you still go outside that door? And if you just so happen to have to go outside that door, do you leave empty-handed? A smart person's going to tell you, I'm not leaving this home. That's just what that's going to be. Because why? The outcome is not favorable. Despite the fact that you got 100 of these wolves that will go out their way to save you, you don't mix yourself in with that fucking under those circumstances. You don't. Because you have a higher probability rate that you will be killed. This is what you know. So you don't put yourself in a situation like that. So when you have this buffoonish female sitting here trying to take the exception and make it the norm and say, see, this is not a race issue. This is not somebody who you need to be listening to. This is a woman who is flat out fucking insane. You need professional help. You are a fucking head case. That's what you are. To sit up and get online and say some stupid shit like this and think that somehow it even remotely holds relevance just shows how mentally fucked up you really are. The elevator's running, but it don't go all the way to the top floor. That's what we're dealing with. And any female that follows you, I mean, man, listen, I don't know what else to say for you. I don't. There's something wrong with you. But this is the very same female who sat up on Tanya TKO's platform and tried to reference how, because we know this much, we found this out recently, some of these white guys who were involved with that Capitol riot are now hoping that they don't get arrested. I don't want to be labeled as a racist. Why? Because my wife is white. That's interesting. And we have seen the pictures. One of the leaders of the Proud Boys has him a brown-skinned chocolate woman as his wife. They even got a kid together. Now, this had all came into play, and of course, Crystalline Karazin tries to find a means to counteract that. And her means of attempting to counteract this is to showcase black men in this group called the Proud Boys. Now, here's the problem that I have with her. If she was able to showcase a sound example, that's one thing. But she couldn't even do that. What she did was take a Hispanic man who's the leader in one of these divisions of the Proud Boys, and attempted to label him as a black man. Now, once again, like I told y'all, when I go ahead and I make examples, there was a reason why when I showcased that black woman that I was talking about, there was a reason why I showcased several different screenshots, one up close, so that way we can absolutely identify that this is what a black woman. We're not going to second guess nothing. We're not going to make mince any words with this. We know for sure that this is a black woman. I'm bringing you the real fucking McCoy. That's what we're doing. I'm not bringing you some half-ass vague description to say, see, this is... No. I will show you the real fucking thing. Either that or I don't use the analogy at all. I don't use that example at all if I can't showcase the real fucking thing. Just that simple. But yet this female would attempt to do this, and she can't produce a black man, brown skin like myself or dark skin, 4C curls, nappy hair. She can't showcase this. Dark brown eyes. She can't showcase this. Essentially what I'm saying is, show me the real fucking McCoy. Don't get me a cheap imitation wannabe. Don't present to me a half-breed. Don't present to me a biracial. Don't present to me a hybrid. Don't present to me a Hispanic. Showcase an actual black man. Because when we talk about a black woman being married to members of the Proud Boys, we actually can showcase a brown-skinned to dark-skinned black woman. This can be produced. This is not a vague description. This is not in general terms in bold. No. We have potency here. You don't produce this. You haven't produced this. So when she sat up on Tanya TKO's panel, essentially trying to give a pass to these black women who are married to members of the Proud Boys, a chauvinistic group, which is stated on their website, a group that has been labeled as a racist terrorist organization. This is what this is what it is. Essentially trying to give them a pass, saying, no, it's not about racism, then what the fuck is it about? And then would somehow remotely try to make a comparison between Black Lives Matter and the Proud Boys. Man, listen, let me go ahead and say this much. We don't have to like Black Lives Matter. We know what Black Lives Matter stands for. But to make a comparison between Black Lives Matter and the Proud Boys, you have to be out your fucking mind. And once again, you can look at the screenshots that I've captured and just look at Tanya TKO's face. Look at the eyes. Look at the looks. This is what was going through her mind as this crazy bitch sat up on her panel trying to make these vague descriptions. Made no sense. Because at some point you have to realize you are dealing with a flat out fucking nut job. This is a woman that needs professional help. She's pushing propaganda. This is what this is. And at some point, y'all are going to have to acknowledge this. Now, Tanya TKO actually handled the situation the way she should have. And what she did was she checked Crystalline Karazin on this and told her, you're making a straw man argument. You cannot take the Proud Boys and compare them to Black Lives Matter. You just can't do that. To take a terrorist organization, you just can't do that. And as Tanya TKO begun to check this buffoonish female, look at the look on your girl who swirls face. Look at the look of a letdown. Look at the look of disappointment. Look at the look of defeat. Look at the look of a woman who is mentally psychologically and spiritually broken. That's what I seen. A mental, an emotional wreck. Because you could not get Tanya TKO to co-sign your ridiculous talking points. To do what? To attempt to throw black men under the goddamn bus. And you felt fucking stupid. But when you want to know what's going to ruin your goddamn brand, let me tell you something right now. It's not going to be the Black Woman He-Man Haters Club, as you love to say. It's not going to be the Obsidians. It's not going to be the Kevin Samuels. It's not going to be the Brian Solanges. It's not going to be the David Carrolls. Hell, it's not going to be the brother of logic and common sense that are going to bring your platform to an end. It ain't that. Now, we might respond to your bullshit, but you best believe we don't give a fuck to waste our time flagging down your channel, getting it shut down. I'd rather you keep this stupid shit up there so the whole goddamn world can see who the hell you really are. Keep it up there. But the ones who are going to shut or who are going to fuck up your shit is not going to be black men. That's going to come from black women. Now, I will say this much. You have a black woman. Well, better yet, let me say this before I go any further, because I also watch her on some other woman's channel stating that, well, all of these women who say that they have gotten close to me and had one-on-one conversations with me and that they know me, they're lying. Now, the one who she is referring to is Black Woman's Fear. Okay, those of y'all already know where I'm at when it comes down to Black Woman's Fear. I made a video back over the summer when she tried to go in on Ahmaud Arbery debunking her bullshit. So y'all know where I stand. But now, just to give you a little of how I came across Black Woman's Fear. I didn't come across her by a Cynthia G or Nyla Says or none of the above, even though this is I guess how the girl who swirls came across her. But now Crystalline Karazin is sitting back saying, oh, these people don't know me. And no, you're full of shit. I know this because I was there when it happened. I first heard of Black Woman's Fear in late 2018. Where did I hear about her from, Crystalline? Like I told you, I didn't hear about her from Nyla Says. I didn't hear about her from Cynthia G. Where did I hear about her from? I heard of her through your channel. Why was this? Because you made a live stream. A live stream that attracted my attention. Because when I looked at the thumbnail image of that live stream, you had an image of both Nyla Says and Cynthia G. So I decided, let me sit down and see what the hell this is all about. If you talking about the two of these females over here, I got to hear what she's talking about. And what she was talking about was a live stream that the two of them had that Black Woman's Fear was on, and she mentioned how they attacked Black Woman's Fear for her being pro-swirl. So after I listened to that live stream, and I remember specifically Black Woman's Fear was in the chat. But let me get back to that in a second. Because I said, let me go ahead and actually look at that video. Let me find it. And sure enough, I forgot whose channel I found it on, whether it was Nyla Says or I think it was Cynthia G's channel. And they were holding a live stream and Black Woman's Fear was on there. And I believe I even made a video responding to what I heard coming out of the mouths of black men. I think it was Taz. But that was a while ago. But when Black Woman's Fear was talking about how she was all about pro-swirl, Cynthia G and Nyla Says had a problem with that. I don't know what the hell they had a problem with that for, especially Cynthia G, but I'm going to leave that one to the side. But long story short, they ended up booting it. They got into an argument, they attacked her, and they booted her off the channel. They booted her off the live stream. That's what it was. Immediately afterward, Crystalline Karazin produces her own live stream. And when she's producing her live stream, she's referencing how Black Woman's Fear was attacked because Nyla Says and Cynthia G didn't like the fact that she was about pro-swirl. Okay. All right. We get that. But now when you sit up here and you say that you don't know who this woman is, that you have not had discussions with that woman, I watched that live stream. I remember seeing that shit. Black Woman's Fear was in the chat room and you kept inviting her up. And she told you at that point in time she didn't feel like coming up at that time. That's what she told you. and you invited her up several times. So when you're sitting here trying to front as if you don't know who this individual is, that you're too good to be caught up in these circles of YouTube, listen, stop. You're full of goddamn shit. And far too often, you have found yourself in some messy ass situations time and time again. I believe it was sometime afterward, you actually held a live stream with Black Women's Fear. So when I hear her saying, yeah, I've had discussions with Crystal and Karazin, guess what? I'm inclined to believe her. I don't have to like her in order to believe what the fuck she's saying. So when you sit up here and you try to make it seem as if this never happened, I'm too good to be caught up in these spaces. Listen, you can sell that bullshit on somebody who has half a fucking brain like you do. You can think that everybody else is just as dense as your fucking audience is. No, that ain't gonna go down over here. So when I'm sitting back and I'm listening to this dishonest female spew her garbage and her nonsense as if she has not held discussions with, as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, back in late 2018, this is the same female that found herself on a live stream, and I think that's when her and Angel Ramirez Jordan had that fallout. Now, I wish I'd have been able to capture that live stream. Now, I didn't get a chance to see it. I'm just going off of what I heard. This is when the whole talk about nude photos circulating around being sent to Angel Ramirez, all of that bullshit was going on at that time. So when you sit here and you make it seem as if you haven't had discussions with these people, as if you weren't trying to fucking recruit Black Women's Fear, the minute you seen she had a fallout with Nyla Says and Cynthia G, you immediately wanted to recruit her and befriend her because the enemy of your enemy is your friend. You's a stupid motherfucker. That shows you how sloppy she is. And let me tell y'all something right now. Y'all have never, out of the 10 years that I've been on YouTube, y'all have never seen me conduct myself in such a goddamn way. Y'all know that I used to be cool with Sotomayor. Y'all know this. Y'all know back in 2015, I had a fallout with him. Y'all know this. Y'all know that many of the people that he was beefing with back in those days, back in 2013, 14, 15, those same people I was beefing with. And when I had my fallout with him, the enemy of my enemy does not become my friend. I don't function like that. And many of those very same people found themselves in my comment thread supporting me. One who found themselves trying to invite me onto their blog talk radio, and I told him, nah, guy, I'm good. I'm not doing that. Me and you ain't friends, and just because I'm beefing with this guy, don't mean all of a sudden me and you now become cool. Oh, I would appreciate it if you can do it. No, it's not happening. Never happened. It's not going down. Because I don't believe in that bullshit. See, somebody who does that is a sloppy individual. You're sloppy as a motherfucker. And you're liable into having all kinds of goofy fallouts with these women. But let me go ahead and make this perfectly clear. As I was stating earlier, it's not going to be black men that are going to lead to your undoing. It's not. It's not. The ones who are going to lead to your undoing are other black women. I mean, the very same information that I found out about your daughter, I didn't find that out by doxing you. I don't do that shit. This information was put out here through black women on YouTube Spaces. This is what this was. So this showcases you being sloppy. This showcases where your priorities are set to. It ain't gonna be black men that lead to your undoing. I don't give a fuck to waste my time leading to your undoing. You're doing that yourself. And literally what you are finding out is that this woman is cannibalizing her audience. Now what you're doing is you're trying to subliminally tell other women, you're going to other people's channels now, that other female that you had that discussion with, the gold digger bitch, trying to tell these women, listen, flag down another YouTuber by the name of Jessica X, flag down Woman's Fear, flag down Obsidian. This is what y'all doing. Now listen, once again, I ain't got to like these individuals, but I'll be damned if I'm going to sit here flagging people's channels down. That's some ridiculous shit. And you know when somebody resorts to tactics like this is what you are dealing with. People who throw stones and hide their fucking hands. I told y'all this about Crystal and Karazin. You throw stones and hide your fucking hands. Just like when you produced that live stream about Obsidian quitting YouTube, and you made the title because you knew it would draw in massive amounts of people in a short period of time, and then you could take the video down in just a few hours. You's a sneaky motherfucker. And you think people don't pick up on what the fuck you're doing. Literally trying to encourage your audience to go about flagging these goddamn videos down. See, listen, y'all tried this shit a while ago. Y'all tried this back in 2017. So when you black women are running around talking about, oh, we gonna flag some channels down. Listen, y'all failed back then, and you most certainly will fail now. I told many of y'all who follow this disingenuous female, this is not a woman that cares about you. This is a woman that uses you every chance she gets. And almost forgetting. Because Black Women's Fear really been doing a number in these past couple of videos she's been doing in these live streams. And one of the things that she has mentioned, I mean, just take a look at Crystal Carrison's husband. All right. And she's really been poking holes in these arguments by saying, why, if you black women are going to go ahead and date outside the race and get you a white man, at least get an attractive white man. Can you at least do that? And what she also referenced is, have you looked at Crystal Carrison's husband? The very same man who was MIA in all of these videos, who you never see or hear from. You never hear him in the background. As many times as she's getting on video, it's not like she produces videos within the consistency rate that I do. I produce videos 2 times, maybe 3 times a month. I'm not on YouTube that often. So it would make sense if she had a consistency rate or a track record of producing videos within my time frame, that yeah, maybe it's understandable how she can find a house to herself in time to produce a video if she's only doing 1 video per month, twice a month. But when you're doing videos day after day, why is it that we never hear from this guy? And then on top of that, you're encouraging black women to go outside the race and date outside the race. And these are not my talking points here. I gotta give credit where credit is due. These are not my talking points. These are Women's Fear's talking points. But yet at the same time, and I'm kind of pissed off with her because I should have thought of this shit myself. I can't believe I didn't think of this shit myself. But anyhow, with all of the talking points that you use about dating outside the race, you've only dated 1 white man. How do you explain this shit? And I'm pissed off once again because I didn't think of that shit my fucking self. That talking point is too illustrious for me, the brother of logic and common sense, to not have picked up on that and used that shit. Out of all the years I've been pointing out this bullshit, you've only been in 1 relationship with 1 white guy. So then my question behind that is, how do you now become the head honcho on teaching black women how to date outside the race? How does that happen when you have the least amount of experience? And apparently this marriage has failed. And on top of that, you couldn't even get a white guy that's attractive. I want y'all to think about that for a second. You couldn't even pull one off that was attractive. Allow me to say this. You see, there was a challenge issued by David Carroll where she failed to follow up on this challenge. And the best way she could have followed up on that challenge is not by trying to showcase other swirling channels that have nothing to do with you, that you don't even know or not even affiliated with because they want nothing to do with you now. But the best way you could have actually fulfilled this challenge is to get your husband in a video sitting next to you. Not of you sneaking a video of filming the back of his head walking inside of a movie theater. Not of you making a video without his knowledge and showing not even above his fucking chin. But get him in a video sitting beside you, have him place his hand around your waist, the same way you're sitting down nice and comfy and cozy with Murphy West, and give him a smooch on the cheek. Give each other a smooch. Have him say that this is my wife and I love her dearly. You can't get him to do this. You can't. Better yet, you know what? Let's scrap that one out because that might be too much to ask out of you. So let's do one better. Since you are the head honcho in charge of this interracial dating bullshit and teaching black women, because this is what your channel is about. Let's not front and make it seem like that's not what it's really about. You're full of shit. So if you really wanted to counteract the talking points of an Obsidian or anybody else who disagrees with your position and says you are a failure, listen, he's not wrong on that. He's right. You're a fucking failure. But the best way you can actually counteract that, to showcase that these interracial relationships are thriving and that white guys are really out here looking to be with black women, why are you not hosting, instead of sitting here beefing back and forth with other black men, warring with black men back and forth, instead of beefing back and forth with black women, making goofy jokes and skits and foolishness, why have you not produced a live stream of you playing matchmaker? Get a couple of white guys on the live stream with you and have some black women on that live stream and set each other up. How come you're not doing this? If you really had clout and you really were experienced in what the fuck you're doing and knew what you were talking about, you'd be doing this rather than sitting around here having angry videos with Brooklyn Blue. Going across the world, meeting up with a bunch of single black women going to Italy by yourselves. Makes no damn sense. Produce a live stream. You should be doing one of these once a fucking week. Hell, you know what? Let's minimize that down for a second. That might be too much. Let's say twice a month. You know what? Better yet, let's make it even fairer. Once a month, you should be able to sit down on a live stream and have attractive white guys sitting down in the live stream saying, hey, we're single and we're looking to mingle. We love us some chocolate. So if y'all want to join us on these live streams, let's get to knowing each other and we can make something happen. That's actually the best way you can counteract what people are saying about you, not by showcasing a bunch of emails of women who are in interracial relationships saying, oh, I set this one up and I set that one up. Man, stop. But she's not going to do this. Why? Because she is not who she says she is. She's not the one. It's just as an example on how she tries to insult you black women on your intelligence. And this is what I forgot to do in the last video. This is why I got to make these videos long the way I do. Let's take this back to 2016. You remember the Veganator situation, right? That she got into? And when she tried to literally lecture black men on what masculinity was and what protection is and all this stupid shit. I think it was called the kill shot. That dumbass video she made. She ended up having to take that stupid shit down because it was so fucking weak and stupid. But anyhow, back when she made that video, she referenced a bunch of men that she was submitting to. And she kept constantly talking about this one white guy by the name of Carl, who was working tirelessly behind the scenes to protect her. This is what she was mentioning. And nobody knew what the hell Carl looked like. When you go to his YouTube page, what you see is a man with a motorcycle avatar, with a motorcycle helmet as his avatar. So you can't even see what the hell he looks like. But once again, Crystalline Carrison is so goddamn sloppy that this information becomes public information. And what she literally attempted to say to black women is, I'm going to set up one of you lucky ladies with Carl. Now, if you were looking for a guy that's over 6 feet tall, chiseled abs and muscle build and looks good and can lay the pipe, Carl is none of those things. That's what she said. None of those things. Oh my God, how stupid can y'all be, man? How stupid can you bitches be? Are y'all serious? I mean... Anyhow, let me just... Okay. So for those of you who want to know what Carl looks like, here's what he looks like, okay? As she mentioned, if you're looking for a guy who's attractive, chiseled up abs, over 6 feet tall, can lay the woodwork down in the bedroom, Carl is none of those things. Instead, here is what Carl is. And she wanted to introduce one of you lucky ladies, and she wasn't going to let any of y'all just meet him. She was only going to set somebody up who was truly lucky. As Black Woman Sphere said, I mean, if y'all gonna go ahead and get you a white guy, at least get somebody who's attractive. Get somebody who looks good. I mean, is this what y'all gonna fucking listen to? This female who supposedly knows what she's talking about And this is the best she can do is get you. I mean, let me just say, do you want to wake up every morning to this? This? Do you want this climbing on top of you? This? Looking like this? Is this what you want? Is this what you feel you're worth, black woman? Because we know once again when it comes down to black men now, oh, see, that ain't gonna work. He better fit a certain criteria. Okay, we understand that. So for the black man, he has to be over 6 feet tall, jawline out the ass, chiseled up abs, muscle build, brings in a certain income. But now when it comes out to a white guy, he can look like this. I'll be damned. This shit is laughable to me because I mean back in the days when I used to hang out with my boys and we would go out, if oh shit. You see, this is who you would put on to your wingman. Okay, so meaning if there was a female that was unattractive, it was 3 of us and you had 2 attractive girls and you had 1 that was unattractive, the wingman would deal with the unattractive girl, and that's just pretty much he's taking one for the team. So you become a take one for the team. So that way what? The other 2 guys can score. So that means you got to take one for the team. So you entertain this unattractive female. You ain't got to sleep with her, but shit, just have a conversation with her. You know what I'm saying? Let her play with your dick, suck your dick, play with your balls, something. So when you look at Carl now, I mean, you put your wing girl onto somebody like this. You don't plan on keeping the motherfucker. You just, you just entertain his ass for a little while, and that's it. That way the other 2 chicks can score. Whatever their objective is as far as scoring is concerned, whether you want to secure the bag, whether you just want to get laid for the night. Well, I don't think you got to go that hard to get laid for the night. You ain't really need all that. But I mean, essentially what I'm saying is this. That's what you put your wingman onto or your wing girl onto. Someone who supposedly has connects, who you see traveling the country to go meeting up with random white guys. How come you cannot seem to produce at least once a month? Produce a live stream where you have attractive white guys who are looking for some chocolate sisters. Truly showcase us that these sisters are out here getting with these white guys and that they're coming in record numbers. You're not doing that. This is why people say that your channel is a failure. You are selling a pipe dream that you yourself aren't even living up to. You are living a lie, Karazin. That's exactly what is taking place. So when we see this bullshit that you're trying to promote, this pink penis package that you're trying to sell, follow the pink peen and know how to navigate in these goddamn spaces, man, listen, if anybody should know how to do it, it should be you. You should be bringing white men to the panel to say, hey, listen, this is who I'm going to have on the panel on a live stream. I'm going to have 2 of these white guys. And listen, I want to have 2 of my attractive looking pink pillars. Pinky zap, yeah, pinky zap. But instead of that actually happening, and this is why I keep laughing, because every time I keep digging back into my memory bank, it just, I mean, what we've seen, actually, there was a time when she actually had white men who were in interracial relationships on live streams. There was a couple that were on interracial relationships on live streams. And then what we seen was some that were single. And I remember one live stream she held in particular. And what we had was a white guy, fat, out of shape, disgusting looking, sitting in this live stream, not saying a single goddamn word, laying on his side with his shirt off. I mean, who the fuck does this? I mean... Who the fuck does this? I mean, come on, are you serious? This is what you're producing? This is who you are trying to get black women to mingle with? This is the best you have to offer? I mean, for those of you ladies who want to swirl and follow the pink pill, okay, man, be my guest. If this is what you want to come home to every single night, be my guest. If this is what you want climbing on top of you and in between your legs or up in your backside at the end of the goddamn night, be my fucking guest. If this is what you want to wake up to every fucking morning for eternity, then be my guest. And by that logic, then I can understand why you black women are still who are these quote unquote divestors, are sitting up in black spaces, in black male spaces every chance you get. Then I can understand why you are so frustrated with black men because you have to come home and look at that every goddamn day. I can understand why you would have a problem. But listen, man, that's a choice that you went as far as to make. That's on you. I ain't got nothing to do with that. You're not affecting me when you do this. It means nothing to me. I mean, most black men really don't give a damn. We can care less. It means nothing. But if this is what you're going to find yourself laying up with, I mean, once again, I can understand why many of y'all are frustrated. I can understand that. Because you have been led astray. You have been duped. You have been told that you are going to secure the bag and have a prize. And if you kiss this toad, he becomes a prince, and you kiss the toad and he still remains a toad. Once again, I don't know what else I can say. I think I've hit on all the talking points that I wanted to convey in this video. I've had to dig deep into my memory bank to really verify all of the foolishness that I've seen over the years with this woman. So for those of you who want to continuously keep following a woman who produces low-hanging fruit, who produces intangible results, who cannot get you the cream of the crop of these white guys that she wants to talk about so damn much, who couldn't even get her the attractive brads that she wanted. What she showcases is the bottom shelf brads and expects you to be able to sell her for this. And that right there is a definition of a woman who was flat out fucking insane. Because the engine runs, but there's no one behind the wheel. You can keep following that advice if you want to. And I'm gonna tell you black women one thing before I close this out. Y'all better be careful listening to these bitter black women who have nothing but failed relationships when it comes down to advice on men. Because what you are going to find out is you are going to find yourself single for a very long time listening to fucked up advice. These are women that do not care about your well-being. Your girl who swirls does not care about y'all at all. She knows how gullible many of you are, and she knows how stupid many of you are, and that she can easily exploit and take advantage of you. And with that being stated, that's all I got to say in this video. And I'll catch you on a later date.